Alright guys, today the video is on univariate and bivariate data, and you can see a little summary that I have for you right at the beginning of the packet about what the prefix uni means, and the prefix bi means two. So once you're done reading that couple sentences there, let's try exercise 1 here. It says, on an upcoming field day at school, the principal wants to provide ice cream during lunch. She will offer 3 flavors: chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla. She selected your class to complete a survey to help her determine how much of each flavor to buy. So they've got this table down here that summarizes the results. And this would be a one-way frequency table, because it's basically just showing you one result, one set of results. All right, in a little bit we're going to turn this into a bivariate categorical table. But for right now, we're just showing you one thing. And what we want to be able to do in this is calculate the relative frequency of each flavor. All right, and this really you've been doing all year. Whenever I give you your test back, I give you your test back in the form of a fraction, and you may get 12 out of 30 on a test, and that wouldn't be a very good score, because if you divide the top by the bottom, you get a decimal. In fact, we can do it real quick right here. If we go 12 and we divide by 30, we get 0.4, and that would be a 40%. All right, if I turn that into a decimal, okay? So we're doing the same thing with this data, and this is our total. So that takes the form of our denominator, like when I hand you back your test, and the chocolate or strawberry or vanilla takes the form of the numerator, or the number right you get on your test. All right? So this first exercise really is just taking each one of these and figuring out a frequency, or a percent. So if I take chocolate, I'm going to do 11 over the total, which is 25, and I divide the two, I get 0.44, which would be 44%. Okay, if I do strawberry, that's going to be 4 over the total, which is 4 over 25, and I get 0.16, which is 16%. Okay, and this one would be 10 over 25, which is 0.40, which is 40%. All right. Now, if you notice, every time when you do the total, if I go to do this total, that's just 25 over 25. All right. And 25 over 25 is 1. If I move my decimal, that is 100%, which should always be the case when you do the total. All right. So that should be pretty straightforward for you. Let's get rid of this one now, and let's do something a little more complicated. All right, we're just going to expand on this ice cream, vanilla, chocolate, strawberry flavor. We're going to expand it into males and females as well. So let me clear things off here, and we'll get number 2 up here. All right, so this is actually the second part of number 1. And if you read the little part that comes before this, it says they now ask how many males and how many females like chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla, etc. So we're going to go ahead and fill in this chart according to these results right here. All right, so it says of the 30 students who prefer chocolate. So down here under chocolate, I've got 30 students that prefer chocolate. I'm going to put a 30 right in there. 22 of them are male, so I'm going to put a 22 in right in there. That means if I have 30 total, that means 8 of them are female. All right? So I use this piece of information right here. It says of the 25 students who prefer strawberry, so I'm going to put a 25 right in here. 15 of them are females, so I'm going to put a 15 here. And that means I would have 10 left over that are males that like strawberry. Okay, so we're all done with that. And the vanilla ice cream, I've got 27 students who say they like vanilla, and 13 of them are males, so I'm going to put a 13 right here. And that means I would have 14 left over that are female. Okay, now what we've done is we've taken this univariate data from before, and now we've changed it into bivariate data because now we have two different variables. We have, do you like chocolate, strawberry, or vanilla? And what is your gender? Are you male or female? So now we have two different items or two different variables that we're looking at here. Okay? Now we're going to fill in the rest of the chart, and if I go across the row, these are all the males. I've asked 45 different males these questions. All I did was add up these numbers, 22, 10, and 13. Females, again, if I add up these three numbers, did I say two up here? Three numbers up here. This is 37, 8, 15, and 14. So I asked 37 females total. All right, and if I add, I can either add this way up and down, or I can add across the total, and I get another number. If I add those, I get 82. All right, so a good way to check yourself is if I add these two numbers up, I get 82, and if I add these three numbers right here, I should also get 82. So that's a good way to check when you're filling in this kind of chart here. All right? So now what we're going to do is the same thing we did before. We're going to take each one of these and we're going to turn it into a relative frequency. All right? For each one of these. So if I'm going to do the first one up here, how many males like chocolate? So that would be 22 males like chocolate. Out of how many? Make sure you're using the correct number for the denominator. This number right here is your overall total out of everyone. Okay, so for each one of these, I'm going to use 82 in the denominator. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing as I did in the previous part of number 1 here. I'm going to take 22 divided by 82, and I get, ooh, that's an ugly number. So I'm going to round. I'm going to round these to the nearest tenth. So that would be actually when I change it to a percentage, I'm going to round that to the nearest tenth. So if I move my decimal 2 places over, that's 26.8. Okay, so I'm going to put that right in here, 26.8%. Okay. Now, I'm not going to do each and every one of these. They are the same thing over and over. So if you want to pause the video and figure out your percentages or your relative frequencies for each one of these, see, this would be number 2 here. Okay, or the second one, strawberry, the number of males that like strawberry. I'm not going to do each and every one out. I'm going to just fill the rest of them in, and then we'll move on. All right, so hold on just a minute. I'm going to get these filled in. Okay, so there you have all the rest of the percentages. Like I said, make sure you can do that. It's the same thing over and over, but you're always over this total number right here. Okay, and I left this one blank because I want to know, what do you think this percentage would be? All right, and since this is the total of everything, what would the numbers be? It'd be 82 over 82, which would be 1. And if I move my decimal over, that's 100%. So when we have a chart like this of bivariate data, this total down here in the lower right is the overall total of everyone. That's always going to be 100%. All right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this bivariate data, and we are going to answer some questions concerning that data. Now I need to clean some things up here. I'm going to take this off, all right, and I'm going to turn on some of the questions, and let's see. There it is. All right. To do these questions, I'm not going to use the percentages that I just figured out. I'm going to use this original chart that I filled in with just the numbers, okay? And you're going to see why that is in just a minute here, okay? So there's about 8 of these questions. So let's just go through and do these 8 questions that go along with this chart. It says, what proportion, okay? And as soon as I see that word proportion, okay, that tells me I'm going to have some kind of fraction involved here. Okay, what proportion of the students that prefer chocolate, or what is the proportion of the students that prefer chocolate ice cream? And I want to take a little time with this because you got to make sure you're using the right numbers. It says what proportion of the students. So they're not just saying of the male students or of the female students, they're saying of all of the students. So in this case, I'm going to use something over 82 because it's a proportion of all the students. In some other examples, they're going to be different. All right, how many of those prefer chocolate? All right, well, that's males and females together, so I'm going to use that 30 right there. So this one would be 30 out of 82, right? And you can leave it like that, or you can change it into a percent, but I'm just going to leave it like that since they do say proportion here. That makes me think of, like fractions and such, all right? So now that one is different. I want you to see the difference here. What is the proportion of students that are female? Okay, this is different. I'm not going to use this total down here. It just wants the proportion of students that are female. So now this is my total. My females add up to 37 females, right? So what proportion of the students that are female prefer vanilla? Well, only 14 are female and prefer vanilla. So this is going to be 14 out of 37. Okay? Now, what's the difference between that one and this one? It says, what proportion of students that prefer vanilla ice cream is female? All right? So now let's see the difference here. What proportion of students that prefer vanilla ice cream? Well, where are the students that just prefer vanilla ice cream? Well, that's going to be these right here. This is the total number of students that prefer vanilla, right? So it's going to be something over 27. Well, how many of those are female? Right here, 14 over 27. Okay, so make sure, if you have to go back and listen to my explanation, make sure you know the difference between what's happening in these two problems. They're very similar. All right, it's very easy to confuse the two. But this one up here, it wants what proportion of the students that are female. That's why I used the 37. This is what proportion of students that prefer vanilla. That's why I used the 27 down there, okay? This next one here, what proportion of male students, okay, male students, I know I'm crossing a bunch of stuff out here, but what proportion of male students, so there's the total number of male students, okay? What proportion of them prefer strawberries? So that would be 10. All right, so that's 10 out of 45. Okay, so be careful of the wording here. Very important that you watch that. All right, let me get those out of here. Whoops, I turned off the wrong thing. I want to get these out of here. Okay, and I want to turn on that. And that's a mess. Let me erase all this. Hold on a minute. Okay, that's a little better. Now let's do the next couple here. What proportion of female students, okay, what proportion of female students, so I'm looking at these right here. Okay, there's the female students, prefer strawberries. So 15 out of 37. 15 out of 37 prefer strawberry. Okay. What proportion of students who prefer strawberry ice cream is female? Watch the wording here. What proportion of students who prefer strawberry? Where are all the students that prefer strawberry? Those would be right here. Okay, so it's going to be something over 25. How many of those are female? So that's right here, 15. Okay, so 15 out of 25. So again, notice the difference in the way they ask the question. This is female students who prefer strawberry. This is students who prefer strawberry. How many of those are female? So that's why I get two different numbers here in the denominator. All right. How about this next one? A student is selected at random from the school. Now you're taking from everyone. This is everyone in the school. All right. So now we're going to use that number right here. What would you predict the student's favorite ice cream to be? All right. Well, let's see. Which one of these flavors had the highest total? Well, 30 out of the 82 wanted chocolate, 25 out of the 82 wanted strawberry, and 27 out of the 82 wanted vanilla. So it looks like chocolate is the winner because they had 30 out of 82 from this survey. All right. Okay, so here is the last two questions that go along with this. And again, watch the wording here. Suppose the randomly selected student is male. So that means we're still choosing from this big group right here. So I'm still going to have something over 82. What would you predict his favorite flavor of ice cream to be? Well, I would go right up here to males, and I would say, okay, well, where's the biggest number? Well, most of them picked chocolate. All right, 22, 10, and 13. Obviously, the biggest number is 22. So, again, chocolate is the winner because they have 22 out of 82. All right, picked chocolate, and we're males. All right, and suppose the randomly selected student was female. Again, we're going out of 82, right? Because it's just a randomly selected student. What would you predict her favorite flavor of ice cream to be? Well, I would go to the females, and I'd go across this row, and it looks like strawberry is the biggest number with 15 out of 82. So for this one, I would put down strawberry. Okay, so there you have it. All right, there's univariate versus bivariate data, and we'll give you some problems like this tomorrow. So thanks for watching. Have a good night, and we'll see you later.